What is the difference between FE Electrical and Computer Exam and the P-Power exam? Is FE Electrical easier than P-Power? What are the major challenges involved when you're preparing for the FE Electrical exam versus the P-Power exam? Are you more pushed for time on the FE Electrical exam or the P-Power exam? Is the reference handbook more helpful in the P-Power exam or the FE Electrical and Computer exam? Which one has a higher passing rate? And if you've already passed FE Electrical and Computer exam, should you use a similar strategy that worked for you in FE Electrical, or some modifications need to be made? In this video, I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison between FE Electrical and P-Power exam preparation approaches. What are the similarities and the differences? So without further ado, let's dive into it. So what is the difference between the P-Power exam and the FE Electrical exam at 30,000 foot view, 10,000 foot view? Obviously, you need to pass the FE Electrical exam before you get qualified for the P exam. Those of you who are preparing for the FE Electrical and Computer exam, this is going to be a good review. And those of you who have started or are in the process of preparing for the P-Power exam, this is still going to be helpful. The major challenge when we come across P-Power is in-depth understanding. Okay, whereas a major challenge in FE Electrical is broad range of topics. So if you take a step back, look at FE Electrical and Computer exam specification, we have 17 sections covering entire undergraduate engineering coursework. You are tested in 5 hours and 20 minutes, 3 minutes per question, 110 questions. Okay, so broad range of topic, and you are in a race against time as soon as you get started with that exam. Now, when we look at the P-Power exam, the number of questions is less, the amount of time per question is more, the total exam time is more. So you are not necessarily being tested on your speed, okay, or the breadth of knowledge. You're primarily being tested on fine details. The questions are typically convoluted, not straightforward. Those of you who have compared the NCES sample exam for FE Electrical versus P-Power, within the first 6 questions side-by-side comparison, you will get to know what I'm talking about. The first 4 or 5 questions in P-Power will basically tell you that, listen, you are not going to be answering or able to score a point on these questions until and unless you know the concepts inside out. Okay, I'm not saying that the FE Electrical is easier in absolute terms, but the level of difficulty of the questions generally is, because you're in a race against time, it can be more manageable if you know the fundamentals. But knowing the fundamentals only will probably not help you with P-Power. You really need to dig deeper and deeper and deeper. The good news about the P-Power exam is that there's significant overlap. We only have 4 sections to deal with, and then each section has subsections. Section 1 has 3 subsections. Section number 2 has 2 subsections. Section number 3 has 2 subsections. And section number 4 has 2 subsections. So overall, we are looking at basically 9 subsections, if you want to look at it that way. And the beauty of P-Power is that as you're working through the content, not only you are getting revision of the previous topics, but the next subsequent topics are made easier because of that. Okay, but that also means it's a double-edged sword, because if you are sloppy in your preparation in the first half and you're thinking that all of a sudden you're gonna pick things up, well, if you're in section number 3 and if you didn't grasp 3-phase systems properly, symmetrical components per unit systems properly, then your chances of tackling the equivalent circuits in section number 3, induction motor, synchronous motor, machine, transform equivalent circuit, transmission line equivalent circuit, the difference between short, medium, and long transmission lines are going to significantly diminish. Now, if you look at FE Electrical, again, it's a double-edged sword. Very rarely you will have sections overlapping or spilling over or bleeding into one section to another section, which means that the damage that you will probably encounter because of lack of understanding will be limited. Okay, so computer systems has little to no overlap, actually 0 overlap with control systems. Control systems has 0 overlap with digital systems. Digital systems has 0 overlap with power systems. Does it make sense? So the damage is contained, and similarly, the advantages are also contained in individual sections. Okay, but there are a lot of sections to cover in terms of FE Electrical and Computer. versus P power. Okay. The other thing is that the reference handbook, which is a great resource for FE electrical and computer exam, is not as much helpful. The P power reference handbook is not as much helpful for the P power exam. Okay. So what we need to do is from the get-go, I tell my students who are in my P Power program that listen, I am going to be deep diving into every concept, right? And I want to let you know upfront that there will be topics that we will discuss at length, in detail, in depth, okay? Because they are hinted in the exam specification, but not mentioned in the reference handbook. Okay, case in point. So, Austin, you've been preparing for the P Power exam, right? Instrument transformers is a line item in the exam specification, the very first line item. The reference handbook contains zero details in P Power. Okay, in my program, I have a 5-part lecture series on instrument transformers. There's an entire subsection, protection, that is completely missing in the P Power reference handbook. Okay, now out of 80 questions, up to 15 questions can be asked. 14 or 15, we'll do a quick review of specification shortly. Up to 15 questions can be asked, if I'm not mistaken, more than 15-20% of the entire exam, and the reference handbook has no details. Okay, so these are the kind of adjustments that we have to make when we are progressing from FE electrical to PE power, right? We have to wear different hats, and the way that I've designed my programs take all of this into consideration. Okay, and the other thing that you got to remember is about 30% of FE electrical does carry over to PE power, and you're going to see the topics that we're going to discuss in today's session very shortly. Circuit analysis, if you are shaky, if you are tentative, if you are not competent in circuit analysis, you're not going to go very far in P power. You will have to circle back to circuits 101. Any questions? Any clarifications? Any comments about this side-by-side comparison? So regardless of where you are in your exam preparation journey, having this bird's eye view of FE electrical versus PE power, if these are the two exams that you're going to be pursuing, I think is extremely helpful. I hope you found this side-by-side comparison helpful. And if you're interested in learning more about my FE electrical and computer exam preparation program and the PE power exam preparation program, feel free to check out my website, studyforfe.com. If you have any questions, clarifications, feel free to drop them in the comment section of this video. I wish you best of luck with your exam preparation and look forward to seeing you in the next video.